response. Let's listen.
To the administration and to our Democrat colleagues all year, and the fact that we want to continue to try to find common ground. We're not always going to agree, but I think it did become clear in the conversation today with the president that there are issues and items that we do agree upon, but when they're lumped together in 2,000-page bills and 1,000-page bills, typically what we find is a lot of things in the bills that we disagree with. And so if we can break these down into smaller bites, smaller bills, we will be able to find that more common ground and find ways to work together. The American people are continuing to ask the question, where are the jobs? And that should be our focus of this year. It should have been the focus of the administration last year. But they seem to be geared toward that this year. Let's find a common ground where we can put Americans back to work, because that's what they expect of us.
The discussion that all of you just witnessed is a first. It was the kind of discussion, frankly, that we need to have more of. I'm hopeful that Speaker Pelosi and Leader Hoyer will follow the president's lead and begin to open their doors and invite Republicans to participate in a discussion like we just had. Obviously, we heard differences, and there are differences. But as the leader just said, there are some things we agree upon. Offshore drilling seems to be one that came up several times in there, as well as the construction of clean nuclear plants. Let's go ahead and do those things. Let's do the things that we can agree upon, set aside perhaps the things that the president believes in that we philosophically don't, but if there is some common ground, we ought to go ahead forward with those. So I look forward to perhaps seeing that the House leadership on the other side of the aisle follows the lead of the president, and we can begin to see actually some progress towards making things happen for the American people.
Well, let me say, House Republican leaders are grateful for the President of the United States' willingness to come in a freewheeling and open environment and have a frank and honest conversation about the future of this country. It was also very welcome to hear the President finally acknowledge that House Republicans have offered positive alternatives over the past year of his administration to every major legislative initiative considered in the Congress. This summary that is now available at GOP.gov for all Americans to review links back to alternatives that Republicans offered on economic stimulus, on a budget, on energy independence, and on health care reform that will lower costs without raising or growing the size of government. We welcome the dialogue with the President, and we especially welcome the acknowledgement that this business about the party of no ideas can hopefully be banished once and for all from the political debate.
Question.
Now that you've heard from the President, do you feel like he'll be more receptive, that you will be more of a participant in the process now going forward?
Well, I think the President's always been willing to work a little more closely with us, but really it's never translated into real action on the Hill. And so, as Mr. Cantor pointed out, it's really up to Speaker Pelosi and Majority Leader Hoyer to carry through. I think the President will carry through in terms of having more meetings with us, having more discussions with us. But there's got to be more than just discussions.
Some of your members have said that they felt like the President came here and said that you need to act in a more bipartisan fashion and get beyond all this rhetoric, and then turned around and started accusing you, the Republicans, of doing just that and doing some of that himself. What do you think of that?
Well, it was a candid conversation, and as you're well aware, we've been through a pretty difficult year with a lot of major issues, and I'm not going to exacerbate the problem that's already out there. I think today was a good first step in having more of a dialogue, and I hope it continues.
Obama did keep talking, though, about how Republicans need to stop talking so badly about the Democratic Party and stop these attacks all the time. But wouldn't you say that Democrats do exactly the same thing to you? Did you think that was fair?
Listen, when I have issue with some of their proposals, listen, I try to be honest about it. And when I describe their health care bill as a government takeover of our health care system, I say it because I truly believe that's the essence of their bill. And we can go down through all of it. And so I'm going to do what I think I have to do. And I think our leadership team, we're going to try to be honest in our assessment of those policies that we disagree with. But every time we do disagree with their policy, you'll continue to see us put forward what we think is a better solution. I think that's an honest way for the minority in which to operate.
Yeah. But House Democrats have a large majority over you. What incentive do they have for working with you?
Well, right now, there's bipartisan opposition to their health care bill, and it's Republicans and moderate Democrats. The opposition to their cap and trade system is bipartisan. And while they have a big majority, they don't have to work with us. What we've seen over the last year is the fact that the Speaker and Majority Leader looked up and said, listen, we got a 40-vote majority. We're just going to go it our way. And so when we're not allowed to be part of the process, when you go through an entire year without one open rule, you really have to, I think the Speaker and Majority Leader need to assess, how they're running the House. This is not the way the founders envisioned the House working. And so I would hope that we'd see more bipartisanship in the House.